All right, everybody, welcome back to the Madcore Hunter podcast. This week I got Danny with me. It's nice to have him back on. He's been out hunting, antelope hunting, I believe. So, Danny, what's been going on, man?
Hey, just getting back up to North Dakota here for work. Trying to concentrate on work. I'm definitely not wanting to be here with it being Halloween tomorrow. I really want to be in the woods, which I'll probably get out a little bit. Buddy Jordan's got a tag still. We'll try to probably slip out here Saturday evening, maybe Sunday morning. I got a spot in mind, so gonna try to film him getting a shot at a buck.
Yeah, I went tonight, and I I got too close to the thicket. Pretty much, I think I thought I could get closer, and instead of backing out and just hitting a tree that's a little bit farther away, I decided to try to push it. And I was sneaking through there real quiet because it had just rained, and I heard this deer, and it wasn't like running away. It's like I got a buck out of its bed, and he thought I was a doe. You know what I mean? So I stood there. I got my pack off, and I'm like, I'll just be real quiet. And I heard him. He was like, trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm like, well, he's kind of got me pinned. I'll just grunt. Maybe he'll come through. Cause I could just tell he was intrigued. He was in that seeking mood. So I grunted, and just nothing. I waited for a little bit, and I'm like, well, I'll kind of back out and go around. Maybe I can slip in. And I go to back out, and I take probably, go 15 yards. And right where I just was, I heard him come in, and then I think he smelled where I had sat, and he took off. So I'm like, gosh, I don't know how big he was. I never laid eyes, but you can just tell. So I think I got too close to where I wanted to be, the bedding area. It's a property that I can't even run a camera. I have little experience there, but I love the way it looks on Onyx, and it's close to my house. So
So
um,
were you going in with like saddle or something tonight, dude?
now I got the lone wolf hanging hunt. I got rid of my saddle. I
Oh, really?
I actually, yeah, I actually, my shipment's coming tomorrow. I'm going all out with all the trinkets that go on it, like the under the seat pack and such. I'm trying to get as light as possible, and I'm not going to hunt as high. Kind of following that Cody DeQuista. I don't know if you've ever listened to his stuff, him talking about the scent cone and this and that. So I'm going to try that. I've had some hunts where I'm only like 10 feet up, and I've not been busted. Especially when the leaves, you have to pick a tree, not so much on the height for your backdrop and such. And it's been working well. Like, I could have shot several does. I mean, earlier in the season, I had a huge doe, like long nose right underneath me. Never knew I was there. So
Really?
I'm going to give it a go. You know me, I like trying, different stuff, different setups. I did the saddle. I do like the saddle, but right now I am liking this hang and hunt. And then I got a different harness to where it's a rock climbing type harness. It's that, I think the name brand's Dryad, but the harness is called Killdeer, and it's got a little bit better leg straps than the XOP harness. But you tie up just like a saddle, Danny. So like you have the lineman's belt for on your way up, and then that's how you tie off to the tree too. So like when you're sitting around, you just snug it up, and it's just kind of looped around your side. My buddy's been running it, and he really likes it. And from a saddle, I was used to it, so I'm gonna try that system. That way, I don't have shoulder straps, and they're getting in the way of the bino harness, and they're kind of noisy.
Yeah. I have used similar to that as I wore the saddle in a tree stand before
It's
because
basically the same thing. It's just you don't have that big diaper on, and the bridge. But yeah, a lot of guys are hybrid hunting now, and they'll wear a saddle and a lone wolf, and they'll sit down or they'll turn around and they'll lean in their saddle.
yeah, I like the main reason I wore it in a tree stand was to be able to actually hang off the tree and face the other direction. Sometimes certain times of the day it's a little better facing that direction anyway.
Yeah, and this harness, I got like the thicker padded leg straps, so I could do that for a time period, or they sell like a hammock that attaches. So it's like you can wad it up real tight into a ball. And then the way it hooks up is just like a saddle, but it's like hammock style. You know what I mean? So obviously it won't be as comfortable, but it wads up into like softball size. And you can just have it there. If you run into a tree that you're like, I like this, and I could look both ways, then you can get, more comfortable. So it's pretty neat. I think it's called Dryad or something. The harness's name is
Interesting.
Killdeer. Yeah. Looking forward
It's
to it.
I'm sitting here just having a thought. It's kind of funny to me, like guys like us that are really interested in gear and new gear. It is pretty much anymore just like take our money because you just everything you see is like, oh, that looks like a cool idea. And you
Well,
use it for a little bit. I mean, you get dialed, but I still am interested in things I see all the time. Like I've been trying to actually make myself stop getting stuff. Like I've got all the stuff that I need, but you want to see if that next item's just a little bit better, a little bit lighter, a little bit
I know.
sturdier. It's
Well, I
it.
made a deal with myself. If I'm not every time I buy something, but I have to sell. So, like, I went to the Lone Wolf system. I kept my saddle, but I'm like, no, I'm going to sell the saddle. That way, it's all I use is the Lone Wolf. That way, I fully try it out. And I've been liking it. I've been honing in on it. And, I mean, not that I'm getting all my money back, but at least I'm getting some back.
Yeah,
And
I
then just different odds and ends, trying not to hold and be, because I'll just hold on to gear, so I'm trying to make myself sell it. I can always buy it again if I really loved it that much.
I definitely need to get a little better at selling some stuff. I got some archery stuff that I need to sell, bow wise, and just even a bunch of Sitka. Or just other stuff. I've bought stuff to try it out, and it's good equipment, it's good clothing, all that. But you find like I started out with synthetic on base layers, and I don't even like it anymore. Like there's nothing wrong. Some people prefer that, but I've definitely got to where I want the wool against my skin. So
Yeah, I like merino wool.
yeah, it's just interesting how you got like I really want to try stuff out, but man, it does get expensive. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
and a
it's
lot of it is slight changes too. You know, like you jump on a new fad, everybody's getting it, and it is better, but how is it like it's minute better? Like
hmm
for example, Sika just come out with a uh their Stratus system, which is it's windproof system. I have some of it from a few years ago, but they come out with their 2.0. It's a little there's not a lot of difference. It's got some different pockets for you to put your rangefinder in and stuff so people don't have to wear a harness, a bino harness and stuff. But those new pieces are $400 a piece. A
Oh
jacket
yeah.
is $400, the pants are $400. But like I've been wanting a vest in that, and I checked it out. That vest, the new one's $275. I was like, there's no way. But because they just dropped that new stuff, the old stuff is on huge discount. So like I was able to get that vest for like $100. Something that is literally the new one is almost 300. So
What
something
size
to
is
something to
is
look at.
what size is your Fantic jacket? The Sitka like the heavier. It's got like the cross zipper.
I got a 2X in it that I would sell in a
Does
heartbeat.
that fit you? Because I got an XL and I swear I should have got a 2XL. I always thought Sitka ran pretty true, or if not a touch big. Because
Most of their stuff I wear 2X in is set, like that jacket. I don't like that jacket. It's weird is I like most of the sickest stuff. I like the material that it's made out of. That stupid ankle jack, ankle zipper, dumb. Like, and I know, like, I think Obendorf really likes it. I don't like it. For being a big guy like me, it's a pain in the butt to get, if you have it unzipped all the way to zip that back up. It really is.
is
And
yours
I don't,
the gray camo?
it's elevated, the one I got.
Is that gray or not? I forget. Or is that the
It's like I call it almost blue. It works real well. I like it
Yeah,
this
that's what
after
I
the leaves
mean.
are off.
I don't like their green or like their western type camo. I like I call it the grayish type. I guess they're original.
Yeah, I didn't buy Sitka until they came out with the subalpine. That camo's really
Well,
good. It fits in
mine's
about anything.
mine's brand new. I might sell mine and buy yours off of you, honestly.
Yeah,
It's like,
I've got one that I've ever for the last 2 years I've been wanting to sell it because I bought the let's see, that was the Fanatic. I'm trying to think of what their other winter coat is called. Um, I would say it was Fanatic because I got the bibs. I like the bibs. I like
yeah,
that
I got the bibs.
material, and the bibs have like what the leg material is on the bibs is what my jacket is, and that setup is amazing for below 0 degrees. Like it is really warm. It's hard to walk in. I mean, it's hard to wear it in. You want to pack it in, you know, for the jacket and stuff, but you could throw that jacket on without any layers and be comfortable, you know, down to about that 10 degrees, 0 degrees.
Yeah. I don't know. If I'm gonna wear the jacket, I can probably have like a base layer and a small jacket underneath of it. I'm not
Yep.
gonna be able to layer up heavy underneath of it, or I'll be restricted because it's just I'm too long for it. Like it's just I think it's like big enough around with the XL, but it's not long enough. Like I don't have like my
I
shoulders
just,
feel like they could get tight in it. If that makes
yeah,
sense.
I wore it a few times, but I just hated the design of the zipper. I get why they did it was so you could have, you know, your pocket in the front where both hand like it was like a what they call those like the foot you'll see them in football wearing those mitts basically where you can put your hand in
Yeah,
for the
muffs.
muff, you know,
Yeah.
like a warmer up
Mhm.
front. And that's why they designed a zipper to go around it so that was one full pocket all the way through. But, you know, skinny guy probably don't have much problem. I just don't like the zipper. I don't think it was worth the effort they put in to make that zipper at an angle for what they accomplished, you know,
I'm gonna
personally.
try it this year. It's been so like you kind it has to be cold for you to actually really try it. So if it's too small, maybe we'll get with you. But yeah, man, I can gear, man. I love it. It's- I dropped some money with just because Lone Wolf, like you're gonna pay for that name, but if you watch the video on that Lone Wolf gear, like everything, like the detail and the design is really good. Like I'm not saying it's worth the money, but it's just enough to where I'm like, that's and you can't find it used hardly. Like that
So
stuff doesn't.
is is Lone Wolf still operating then?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's called Lone Wolf Custom Gear now. And then they
Okay.
came
See,
out with
I thought they went away and Novix took over, and maybe it was just some guys from Lone Wolf left and started Novix because Novix is exactly the same as the Lone Wolf. It really is.
well, it was. So I think he worked for Novix and then he tried to take the plans from Novix or something and create his own. He got sued. So Novix like won the lawsuit and then he decided to still come out and it's called Lone Wolf Custom Gear. So the new
Huh.
Lone Wolf Custom Gear stuff doesn't look like Novix anymore.
Really?
Uh,
Because so I
yeah.
had a Lone Wolf tree stand that I really liked, and it was like all of a sudden I couldn't buy anything from Lone Wolf, so I ended up with a stand and 4 set of sticks from Novix. They're pretty portable. They were just like the Lone Wolf that I had. I really like. I don't actually because I'm saddle hunting. I don't use them that much anymore.
I'm liking it, and the way they have the steps that integrate into carrying it, like
Yeah.
it's really cool. I have it right here, but I have to go there and get it. But it's look up. It's called Lone Wolf Custom Gear. Their new stands, like they have so much detail within them. You know, it might be worth looking into because I'm starting to like it more than the saddle.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's you'll find what you like. You know. Just like there's different things. Like I think you use a couple sticks with some aiders, and I don't like aiders at all. they, I had a bad experience with them the first time I tried to use them, and I've stayed away from them. I'm sure
I
I could probably figure it out if I practiced, but I went in the dark and was trying to deal with an aider and like almost fell out at tree stand coming down that night. So I
no, you
was
got to
like,
practice. Yeah,
yeah, I was like, I want nothing to do with it.
mobile hunting is practice. It can really suck but there's a lot of advantages to it. I mean, some guys are mobile hunting only. I mean, I like a set stand. I mean, I killed that big buck out of a ladder stand. I like a ladder stand more than a hang on. I think
Oh yeah, they're
that
way more comfortable. You can
I
sit there all day.
I won't buy another hang on. Like I've got this hang and hunt, but I'm unless somehow you just that's the only way to get in a tree and you're so set on it. But the price of these new ladder stands and how light those millenniums are. I mean, it only takes me and dad. Like he stands at the foot of it and it's light enough. I can literally walk it right down and go up and over and just put it right on the tree. And it's got a
Good.
backrest to it. It's got hooks up there. It's safer. I don't know. You just never know. I think about things a little bit more now.
Yeah, we got a few of them that are the 21-foot lockdowns, and I mean they're big, heavy duty stand, but they don't move once you get them in there and get if as long as you got a good tree. You know, I had some issues with one moving last year, but it was after hunting season. It just like I actually had to cut a little knot out of the tree to make it fit because it just where the knot was right in the wrong spot. You know.
Yeah.
So we fought that a little bit, but when I hunted it during hunting season, it was fine. It didn't move, it didn't squeak. But those stands, those have been the best stands that I've ever set in for daylight to dark
Millennium.
sets. Yeah. No, these were what are they the I'm drawing a blank on it. I know they were called the
Hawk.
lockdown.
Lockdown. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that the name brand? I know of like
I
ladder
think they're a
stands
big
like
game tree stand, actually.
okay, so
I
big
think they're
game.
called big game lockdown. I'll check here. I believe that's what they were, but man,
They
they're
well, the problem I
comfortable.
always had is just they're so heavy. These Millennium lights are just so lightweight. That's what's nice about them.
Yeah. I don't know. I tried to search it real quick, but I think that's what they were, big game lockdown.
Yeah.
They were
Um,
sold at Shills is where I got those out of. Got found. You know, most of the stuff if you are chasing gear, man, you're better off to wait a year, you know, let it be a year old or you know, find this Black Friday sale is going to be your pretty much your best sale of the year is going to be Black Friday for getting like clothing. That's hunting gear, Sika, Kuiu, all those guys are going to have that, you know, 30, some of it to 40% off. They always got outlets, but for guys our size, you're hardly ever going to find something unless it's some old color of camo, you know, that's big enough. That's usually smalls and mediums, maybe a large in there. But
yeah. I haven't been fighting the clothing bug as much. Like I feel like I have all the clothes that I pretty much need. Like unless I
yeah,
want
I
to
can't
start
comprehend it because I see something it's like, that looks new. And what it does is I find something different that I like, and then all of a sudden I'm not using. Yeah, like you end up hunting. Like if you got a layering system that you like for 30 degrees, you end up wearing 4 items. You know, like that's what you wear for the week of hunting. That's
Mhm.
how I end up. I end up wearing once I'm dialed to whatever temperature is, then I'm wearing pretty much the same thing the whole time.
And
But
also where I'm at, man, the briars are so bad. I hate like I hunt in predator pants. Like you know like the name band Predator?
yeah,
Uh that's what I hunt in because I mean I've got Kuiu, I've got those Fantic bibs, which it's not cold enough for those, but I don't really care if they get all briars. Like I hunt in that stuff, you know, and like I take a Kuiu puffy in, but I try to protect it and such. But I don't know. I've got my whitetail stuff and my out west stuff. But whitetail stuff can get beat up here, man.
it's weird because you know I was just like all my clothing at one point in time was mossy oak, you know, and I went down the scent log, you know, road for a long time with whitetail, and that's all good, real good clothing, and you know, supposed to help with the scent. I don't know. I try to when I'm whitetail hunting, I try to at least bathe with the scent free soap and use all that stuff and wash my clothes. I try to help myself, but I mean, you can just go down a road that's crazy there now with those onyx and you know the electronic scent stuff and just
I think half of it.
everything.
I mean, I think you don't need to be wearing freaking cologne out there. I use non-scent, which is probably healthier anyways, non-scent deodorant this time of year. Then I have a tote that I keep all my hunting clothes
Yep.
outside with. And I probably wash them, just depending on how much I sweat going in, every couple hunts. But your breath, I mean, that's your biggest one. Like, you can see your breath in the morning. Like, everybody's breath stinks in the morning. If you drink, and if you brush your teeth, it smells like mint. That's not really natural. So, um, you just
Yeah.
got to play the wind, play the thermals.
Yep. I think you get away with just a few more seconds to take a shot sometimes with some of all that stuff you do will maybe give you a 5-second window where you get a shot off. So I mean, it depends on how serious you are about it and if it's worth it. There's all kinds of different stuff. There's hex. I don't know if you've messed with that, but I know guys that 100% believe that that is legit and it works. I've got a set of it. I've not only wore it like once because it's not that I don't think it might be helpful, but there's just so many things. Like the last podcast you did, I listened to it the other day, and I jump on like a meat eater podcast, and they've got a science, like a wildlife research dude that's on there from college out of, I think, Mississippi State. I don't remember the guy's name, and they're talking about the moon, and they're like I believe the moon affects it a little bit. And, I hunt with guys that really believe in it for sure. And hearing him it was very interesting. I wrote down what he had to say about that, about the red moon and, the second day and all that stuff. And that podcast I listened to says there's no scientific proof at all that the moon affects whitetail. And they said, the weather is more apt to change than any moon saying. And if it makes you a better hunter because that's what you believe and you've seen, but like their point was if you wait to go hunting that second day of the moon phase because that's what you believe and you kill, when you go out on those days, like his point was he was seeing it on camera, so I ain't saying that there ain't anything to it. It's just I've listened to like multiple podcasts in the last month that are recent, like Wired to Hunt, I think had one, and Meat Eater had one, where they're talking to scientists that have done studies on deer that's saying that the science doesn't back that up at all. But
I don't know. It affects the
yeah,
tides, the moon does and
oh yeah,
such. And a lot of people swear by it, and most of them have killed huge deer.
yep.
I don't know.
But
Science isn't
like they
always
said,
correct.
anything that makes you more confident when you go out to hunt at that moment is helpful because you got to have confidence that what you're doing is going to work.
Yeah.
And I believe having that confidence, hey, I'm going to go kill a deer today, that really helps. It makes you more alert. You're
Hmm.
on the ball. So it's just interesting because I listened to that podcast right after we had Cameron on. So it was just interesting to hear both sides of that because I do think the moon affects stuff a little bit personally. I feel like I've seen that
For
because
elk, especially, dude. I mean,
one
we've
one of
seen it
my
year after year.
one of my things is, I'm definitely the guy, like, I think that around the full moon, whenever that is, like, those are the next day or two after that full moon's when you need to be definitely in a stand all day during the middle of the day
Hmm.
because I feel like you're going to get that middle day movement. And I think that
Hmm.
probably lines up with what he was talking about with the red moon. I don't know enough to really talk on what he was talking about, but it's just
No, yeah.
interesting to hear everybody's got an opinion and
That was a good
all the different
podcast
stuff.
too. I was glad that, like, because I didn't do a lot of research. He wasn't a one hit wonder, or anything. Like, he'd killed a lot of big deer, had a lot of knowledge, and he's a seasoned
Yeah,
guy for sure.
I was talking to Dad today about that podcast, and he really enjoyed it. And he's like, that guy was very knowledgeable about it. There was some stuff he picked up on, from that he hadn't thought of before. So he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we got another guy coming next episode. For those listening, he killed it was over 200 in Ohio last year. I think it was close runner up for state record or something. I'll learn more about it. I try not to do too much research. Like, I want to meet the person, and learn from them. I want to come in and not have an opinion on them already in a sense, because somebody might say that guy's a poacher or something, or and he's actually a really nice guy. Could have some people weighing jealousy, and so I just want to meet him and talk to him, and just most people probably listen. It's the first they've heard of him, so just to kind of do them justice as well.
For sure. Yeah. Had you got out any other times besides tonight in the last week?
The weekend a little bit. I've had some good hunts. Let's see. Yeah, I went out 3 days ago, and it was lightly raining. Had 5 does in front of me. It's I'm not gonna say it's October lull or whatever, but my cameras, as far as the bigger deer I have on camera, I've not been seeing as much. And I've talked to a couple other guys, so I think it's kind of calm before the storm right now. And other people might say, no, they're chasing this and that's just my area. I'm running not a ton of cameras, but quite a few. Activity is down.
Have
It's
you
I'm
haven't
not
picked up any chasing?
no. Nope.
Okay. Illinois is starting, like, we're starting to see some bucks trailing does for sure. That started like today. Obendorf's been trying to get out, had wrong winds for where he's wanting to hunt. I did got a text from him here just about the time we started the podcast. He put eyes on over a 150 deer tonight. So he was pretty excited, but the deer went the other direction from where he was hoping it would go. So it didn't get in front of him, but I know he's going out all day tomorrow. And today on one of our cameras, we had a doe come through at 10:30, small buck at 10:40 on her trail, and a shooter buck at 20 minutes behind her. So there's definitely been
Okay.
seeing some movement with that going on in that particular area. His house, that's an hour and a half away, not much happening. I think he's had EHD, it sounds like, around the house because deer numbers have been really low and the corn's already been started being harvest. So that sucks because he's not having much, but the other farm that we're hunting looks great, looks better than we've had in the 4 or 5 years we've been hunting it.
I know Rob over in Illinois hasn't. I mean, unless he's holding out on me, he's not having anything big show up. Really,
He
I
might
mean,
be holding out on you a
he
little
had like a
bit.
160 show up, like one, and I mean, not. I mean, just because Illinois doesn't mean you're gonna have a ton, but he's got
No,
a
not at all.
couple different properties, and I think he's got better hunting in Indiana right now. So I think that's where he's hunting tonight. And I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear much out of him, so I don't think he had a crazy good night. But it's getting ready to start. I mean, let's see, tomorrow's Halloween. I mean, last year I hunted on Halloween. I mean, I got my son this year. I'm gonna take him trick or treating. Like I don't care. Like I do want to be in the stand, but I've got some days off, and I seem to have better hunts. Into November a little bit, and even late season I have better hunts. So it's a marathon for me. I'm not gonna get too hyped up. Let the cameras kind of show me, what's going on.
Yeah, from what I've seen out of Illinois, Michael, I think is going to hit it pretty hard this tomorrow and this weekend because we've got some deer definitely showing up in the daylight right now and starting to look like they're wanting to chase a little bit and maybe moving does around. So I wish I was there already because I know it's probably the weather's pretty cooler. I think a little bit there and looks
It's
like
gonna
it's going to
warm
be
up
pretty good.
next week.
Is
It's
it?
gonna it's gonna be
He
like, yeah,
he
yeah.
told me like I should be able to start hunting on the 13th, I think, and he said that they were like they were already talking about maybe having snow mid-November in that area.
I think next week it's gonna be in the 60s and like 70 or something.
Really,
So
I
maybe
got I got
maybe after that, but I'm gonna go over the 7th through the 10th as of right now is my plan.
7th through the 10th. That
Maybe
should
take more
be
days off.
that should be pretty good timing. I'll be hunting by the 13th, but I got
Very
about
good.
8 days before gun starts, I think. So your tag's only bow over there, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't even put in for gun. I'll
Yeah.
just do both. It's a lot of tags. Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep everybody updated. I thought about once November hits, like trying to do little segments of rut updates, like even if it's just me or hitting you up or Obendorf, but it's tough to get everybody. I'm not going to promise anybody, but we might try to just do like little 10 to 15-minute segments, like maybe the first couple weeks in November here and there. Just like, hey, what are you seeing? This lure worked. I rattled him in, grunted him in, used a doe bleep. I don't know, just something. I think Hoyt did it a couple years ago, so it's not my idea, but I liked when Hoyt did it because everybody, as soon as November hits or like Halloween, they're like fired up and they just want to
Oh
hear,
yeah.
get a report every day. So may do something like that. It's an idea.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, the only thing I wish is I was off all November and could hunt multiple states, and like it's going to be so hard getting through work for the next 2 weeks cuz I want to be somewhere so bad.
Yeah, I
Like my
think
my
Dad
boss
has
asked me if I was excited to be back to work. I was like, "Really?" I was like, "It's October 30th. What do you think?" Like I was
yeah.
like, "I want to be in the woods somewhere."
I'm jealous. Dad's got the first 2 weeks of November off. Like I don't think he works at all. I think he just took
That's
the
awesome.
all 2 weeks off. So he better kill. It's all
Yeah.
that time. All right, let's get into your antelope hunt. I want to hear the story.
Oh, I don't know how great of a story it is. It's I think I'll be able to tell this. um, I you find that you're better with certain weapons. At least I feel that way. And a rifle is not one of my favorite, which doesn't make a lot of sense because you can shoot really far with them and it's a gun.
Do
But
you get overconfident? They say the most confident or confident person is a
no,
rifle
I
in a
don't
bow
like them.
hunter's hands.
Like I I when I shoot, it was so different with a muzzleloader. When I pulled the trigger on muzzleloader, that animal was going to die. And when I shoot a bow, and I mean, I miss just like everybody else, but when I shoot a bow, like I expect the animal to be not going very far for the most part, unless I'm really flinging an arrow at a chance, a far distance shot. But I had a very rough rifle hunt, and like I just don't like rifle season because everybody and their brother is hunting. And in Wyoming, it's especially antelope, it's flat. You can see for miles, so you can see everybody's driving the same roads. And antelope hunting, you might have people tell you, how far they packed in. And I've put on some miles chasing antelope, but for the most part, antelope, you're going to be driving around in your truck until you see one. Now, you may be glassing 2, 3 miles off, and catch them, but you're going to find a road as close as you can to get in there, and then you're going to go after them. You want them to be in the right setup and all that stuff. This area that I'm in, well, I ended up hunting 3 days because I think I mentioned this that I found 2 horses. I got horses, so I had to do a bunch of work getting ready for them. Had to go drive 8 hours to get these things picked up and brought back to the house. Blah blah blah. I end up getting 3 days before I go back to work. I finally get to go antelope hunting, and I go out, and antelope season has been open for almost a month, most of October. So I didn't go opening day or that opening week thinking, I'll wait till the end of the season. They'll definitely be shy of the vehicles driving up and down the road because once the guns start going off, they see a truck, they're usually gone unless they're over a mile from you, or at least 600 yards, it seems like. But anyway, I went out there and there was vehicles everywhere on a Friday morning, like the third or fourth week of gun season. And I'm like, how, why? Why is this still happening? So I was already mad, but I had a new gun that I'd never hunted with, and I sighted it in North Dakota before I got home. And it's a Leopold. It's got the CDS dial on it. So once I got it sighted in, I sent off my bullet information and all that stuff to get the dial made for that gun. Well, it
What
got
gun
to the
is it?
house.
What caliber?
I had 2 of them, and I didn't. I thought I was going to hunt with a 30-06, but I had a 6.5 PRC that I was also had sighted in. So it was like either one. I was maybe going to shoot an antelope with one and then go deer hunt with the other gun, just because they were. I've had the guns for a year or so, but I just hadn't shot anything with them. But I checked that they were sighted in. I was all good. I get home, and the only turret, the CDS dial that came in, was for the 6.5 PRC. The other one hadn't shipped. So I put it on, and I go outside and shoot, and I was zeroed in North Dakota. I'm 2.5 inches low. So I'm very frustrated with that. But The only difference was there is elevation. North Dakota's, I don't know, it's not much different than Indiana. It's real low elevation, and then where I live in Wyoming's 5,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
4,500 somewhere in there, and I expect to only have to shoot once. I shoot and I don't even see the bullet on the paper, and I finally find it. It's low, get it corrected, and that already frustrated me. But I did throw a can on, so I have a suppressor, a 30 caliber suppressor that I threw on that gun. They can change the sight in a little bit. I don't know what caused that problem. But anyway, I got it sighted in. It was all good. The night before I go hunting, next day, so I got a lot of confidence in this gun. And I got into a buck right away that I thought was a good buck, and I talked myself out of it, and I left him. And there was a bunch of vehicles on this one particular road that kept driving by, and I found me another 2-track to circle these antelope, and I get around them, and they're just in a flat. There's like no way to get close to them. I mean, I'm seriously over 1,000 yards away and don't have a way to get around 360 degrees, and I can't get closer. So I find the 2-track, and I end up finding where just got a little rise or something that you can get out of the way. I end up getting in on them, and I get to like 400, and I'm thinking, I gotta try a shot. And the other thing I find out is trying to range. There's probably 30 head of antelope together at this point. They're starting to really group up. And so there's multiple bucks. So you're trying to pick out which one's the biggest and all this stuff. And go through all that. I get laid down, and I'm finding that crawl, with it being so flat that you think you have enough rise that I want to shoot prone to shoot
Mm-hmm.
long distance. Okay. So I'm crawling up, and I'm trying to film with a camera on a tripod by myself, and that ends up being a major headache. And usually I'm pretty good at that. With antelope, it's like that's a guaranteed hunt that I can film. This flat country was not working for me whatsoever, because that first time I tried to get the camera set up, there's so many animals. I was having issues finding the right goat because they were so far away in the camera. And then, like, every time I would lay down, I wasn't high enough to see over the little bitty rise, but they could see me crawling. So it was very frustrating. The one thing I found was the fact that I got a shot with a bow amazed me. Like, I don't know how I did that, because I couldn't get close enough with the rifle. I didn't get a shot there. There was another truck that came in from the other direction that had me nervous. I was afraid they were going to run them off. Anyway, the antelope take off. And then I'm debating, do I just take off on foot after them, or do I go back to the truck and circle and try to get closer, because they've ran over a mile.
Mm-hmm.
I get back in the truck. I drive. There's a little rise. I end up parking before the rise, which is a trick I usually do with antelope when you're driving around looking for them, is before each rise, if I think there's antelope behind that, I will stop. And that's where I leave the vehicle so that they don't see you coming over the hill.
Mm-hmm.
They may allow, deal with the noise, a little bit. But I got over the hill. I end up getting on this antelope and getting a shot. Audio is still good, man.
Yeah, you cut out just a minute, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I just started getting a little back feed. I don't know why I didn't change anything.
No,
It's
you're
it's
good.
good. It's good now.
How big? How many antelope? What was the setup?
In this group that I was on, there was two groups ended up merging when they ran off, and so there was like 40 animals, and there was only one particularly large goat in the group. There were some others that weren't too bad, but I ended up getting on them. I don't remember yardage. It was not close. It was over 350 ish, but should be able to make that shot with this particular gun. And what I found was trying to range that thing. Like, I felt like I was hitting the goats, but the goats were in a line, and they were at a 100-yard string of antelope, basically. So they're all different yardages, but it's so flat that there's nothing behind them. So you're trying to hit an antelope with a rangefinder at 350 yards. I had a bunch of problems where I was getting ranges that would vary 75 yards. So basically, I dialed to whatever was the center of that point. If it was 325 at the closest and 375, I'm going to shoot it for 350. Well,
Okay.
I finally get a shot. Think I have my camera on it. I take a shot, and they all run off. Nothing drops. I mean, the sage is 2 inches tall. It's just flatness. There's nothing to hide behind anything. So I know I've missed. They didn't hear the hit or anything. And I saw a bunch of dust fly, and I'm like, I'm so mad how'd I miss? Because I felt pretty comfortable when I shot. And then it just it got hectic from there. These antelope go up towards the other person that's hunting. And I'm like, I just ran the biggest goat that's in this whole area that I've seen to these people, and they're going to kill it right off the side of the main road. They never seen it or something. I don't know what the deal was, but the goat ended up crossing that main road. And so I had to walk back like a mile and a half to the truck, and was fuming over it. I finally drive. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours later, and I go looking for this goat again. And most of them are way down in another flat on the other side of this ridge. And I end up relocating that big goat, and he's in a spot where I'm like, I might be able to get on him. So I park and I take off, and he's coming back to where I'm at. And it's just him and the doe. So I was like, he's separated from the whole herd. I'm like, I'm going to kill him now. But now I started getting a little cocky with the fact that I thought I could film me shooting. Well, I should have just put the camera up because I'd have killed this goat. But I end up getting to 100 yards, and I'm on top of a ridge, get my camera set up, and I've spotted him, and they don't know I'm there. And I mean, they might be closer than 100 yards. I know at this point I was thinking I could probably get this guy with a bow.
Oh,
That's how close I was. I get the camera set up, and trying to get that height because I'm on tripod, and I'm trying to be low enough that I can still shoot off my or I didn't have shooting sticks. I had bipods. And anyway, I get the camera on the goat. The goat notices me, and I'm like, I got to shoot. There's no time to lay down. I grab my gun. I pull it up and the camera's on the goat. I pull it up and pull the trigger. Nothing happens. I didn't chamber a shell from the truck when I left. So
oh my gosh.
yes, this is how rifle go for me most of the time though, because it just does. I'm not good at it. Like
Did you
I can
jack one
shoot.
in?
I did, but he's still looking, and I'm like, he's gonna take off, blah blah blah. I jack it in real quick from after it clicked, get a shell in, pull up, shoot. He's not laying there. I'm like, oh my god, like what is happening? And I would say because I got in such a hurry and flustered myself from a shell, it not shooting. The first shot I felt great. Second shot, the first shot when I squeezed and the bullet didn't, when it didn't fire, nothing was loaded. I felt
Yeah.
like I was really on it. I messed up, missed this goat. And I'm telling you right now, I could have killed it with a bow. Like it was 75, 80 yards probably when I shot. And then he ran off and never stopped, I mean, just the biggest goat by far that I'd seen in this area. And that was pretty much that day. And dude, I don't even like telling this. I didn't hit anything. But I mean, I think I missed another goat the next evening. We hunted that whole day, and it was not a bad shot. Like it was a 200-yard shot. And to be honest, it was so flat out there. I wanted to check my gun, and I just never got to do it. And I still don't know. I think something happened to the gun because I was shooting over every time I'd get the range. I was shooting over him. So either something messed up with my CDS dial somehow after that first miss. I think the first miss was just a yardage. But man, you talk about being so frustrated because antelope's supposed to be pretty easy, you know, a very doable hunt. I make it a little harder sometimes looking for a big goat. And I was very frustrated after day two. Day two, though, got interesting because my son-in-law was with me and granddaughter. And we were trying, she had a doe tag. We were trying, that wasn't working out at all. There were so many people and couldn't get close. This is on the weekend on Saturday. He ends up bumping a nice mule deer buck and comes and finds me. And he's like, hey, you got a mule deer tag? I was like, yeah. And we're checking the area. The area's open. for a few more days. He's like, you need to shoot this buck. He's like, it's got a collar. I was like, what? He's like, it's got Game and Fish collar, tracker collar on it, which it's legal to shoot them. They just want the collar back and usually and things like that. I bet you I put 6 to 8 miles trying to get back on this mule deer on foot. Like it got like he jumped it. We thought we knew which way it went. We put on a couple miles there looking for him and we split up, went in different directions. Couldn't find the dang deer. So we went back to truck, drove a few miles the way that thought maybe went. We ended up jumping him from the truck because it was a trail that ran a ridge system. When we did that, I left, went and parked, and came in from the way he went. I ended up getting on him, but he was spooked, and he doesn't do what most mule deer. You see most people when they jump a mule deer, they run 20 yards and stop. This one just ran, and we left him alone. After that, I watched where he went. He ran like a half mile, 3/4 mile, and went into a ridge system and never came out of it. So I thought, I just marked it on my Onyx. We went back to go antelope hunting and didn't get into anything. I think that was when I told you I missed the one at 200 that I shouldn't have. I don't know what happened there. I had a pretty steady rest, everything. I just think my gun was off. And I guess I'd went before I got that shot. Ended up going back after that mule deer one more time, and that's where I put on like 4 miles. Never located him. Went 2 miles, a mile past where he was, and when I came back, I ended up jumping him a half mile from the truck.
Gosh, that's
and there I got a good look. He absolutely did. He wasn't a giant. He was a mature deer, but he was like a 3x3. Didn't have forks. But he definitely had a collar on him. It was like,
cool.
why
Is
are
that
they
kind of like is that like a trophy in itself? Like the ducks that have the rings?
I guess I wasn't, that it wasn't anything that like triggered me, but Corbin was so excited. He's like,
Okay.
you got to get that deer. That'll be so amazing, And I was like, the more he talked about it, I was like, yeah, that would be cool. And the same day on Instagram, I saw a video of a guy shooting a deer. He must have neck shot the thing, but he shot a deer in Idaho. Look this video up. It's out there. I think I saw it on Instagram. The dude hits a radio collar. They didn't know it when they shot, and it explodes. He hit the battery pack when he shot and killed this buck. And I think it was in Idaho, but it's on video and it just explodes. There's just an explosion. It looks like the deer got electrocuted.
Wouldn't it be something if it saved the deer, like deflected the bullets?
Yeah, exactly. That deer,
dropped the
it did not save. It was like a bomb going off.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun because I haven't got to mule deer hunt, and actually I got eyes on him and I would have shot him. He wouldn't have scored great or anything, but that was kind of fun. And I just, after that day, I marked where he was, but I was like, I don't want to go back after him. I don't understand why they had a radio color on like the only deer in the county, because I've only seen like 7 or 8 deer. So after I didn't get him one day, I was like, I'll just let him go. He's probably going to survive the season because there was only 3 or 4 more days left.
Good.
Then the next morning, I got pretty serious about it and told myself I'm just going to go shoot one. Like, I'm not going to be as particular, but I'm going back. I keep going back to this. It's like, it's at least 2 square miles where these antelope are hanging out and just a huge flat. Horrible to try to stalk. But I've gotten close enough a few times. But the biggest thing I did was I put that gun up. I left my camera in the truck and I pulled out my old 6.5 Creedmoor that I've shot some long shots on antelope and mule deer with, and screwed on my suppressor on that gun, knowing it was on, no doubt about it, that I'd killed with it the last time I had it out. And that morning I drove into that area. There wasn't hardly any goats. They were all on private off of this piece of public. And right as I was getting to, there's HMAs, which some of them you hunt, but this was only open to, I think, cow, elk in this area. And I was going to have to turn around. And right as I got up there, I came to one of those rises on the road, and I had seen some antelope, but I thought they were way out on private. But when I got to that rise, I got out of the truck and I go walking over it. Dude, there's antelope right there. They're right on the corner of public. They're man, they were 100, 200 yards from private. I had to really use my Onyx to make sure that I was correct when I was doing it. But there was a big, what looked to be a big goat. He didn't look tall, but he just had a lot of mass and everything. And like I said, I feel horrible telling on myself because I had such a bad shooting experience. But I don't think I hit him on the first shot. I had him bedded at 300, but same scenario. I had a doe catch me as I was moving to get high enough. I'd been laying, and I had to stop using the bipods because it just wasn't working with the terrain on getting down and getting comfortable and being able to see it. I had to shoot basically standing up off of shooting sticks, which, 300-yard shot off shooting sticks is not the easiest thing to do. I mean, there's a lot of guys that can, but I'm just not a great shot.
That's a poke.
Yeah, and I kind of got forced to take that shot because the doe started to see me and started moving. So I shot, and I may have hit him. I think on the second shot when I kill him, I think the bullet broke apart though, because there was definitely two exits, but I couldn't find the second entry. So I either hit him back on that first shot, but they sometimes do this when you shoot with a suppressor. They ran right at me. And then, like if he gets 100, 150 and I got sticks, then it's done deal. And I smoked him when I got the second shot, but at that moment, man, he was gathered up with like 30, 35 head. And there was 3 or 4 bucks that I didn't know was in there. So I was in a panic mode trying to pick out which one was the goat that I just shot at, which was the biggest one. And I was able to get on him, and they weren't too spooked by it at all. The gun don't make much noise, with that can on it. And I had to wait for a smaller buck to get out of the way. He was standing in front of him, and finally got him open. He was quartered to me a little bit, and I put it right in the V on his shoulder there, and perfect double lung. He ran like 40 yards and went down. Ends up being a better goat than I thought. He's not tall, but he's one of the more massive goats that I've shot as far as base mass and then the cutter length.
What do you
I've
think
got
he
him here.
scores? Because they're kind of hard to score. I don't even know what is a
I
good score? 80 and above for goats.
Well, I mean, Booner is 82 inches. I've got,
Okay.
I think, one that's just a touch over 82, and I got one that's just under 82. One's a bow kill, and one's a gun.
Okay.
But I personally think you get in the 74, 76 range is a really nice goat. But
Yeah.
this
Okay.
guy's going to score really well because of that mass.
Yep.
He's
Mm-hmm.
got that's almost 7-inch bases. And I think if I'm scoring right, there's 2 mass measurements under the cutter on these and 2 above. Because basically you divide the length. And he's longer than I thought, not by much. One's 13 and it broke off. He's like 13 and 3/4. The other one's 14.
His
And I didn't
cutters
think
are
he was,
nice.
yeah, they're good 4-inch, I think. I mean, you have to find the line of the horn, to
Mm-hmm.
get your measurement there. But they're somewhere around 4. Both these measurements down low. I mean, if you think about that, they're close to 7. There's 28 inches of mass in 4 measurements right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get another 2 or 3 up here a couple times. I think this one was 1.5, 2 inches. But I put a rough score right before as you text me to get on here. And I'd say he'd easily go right at 75, I think, if I'm doing everything right.
It's a good one, man.
I don't score him very often, but you know, I'm usually pretty good at telling. It's just his cutters and mass are impressive, but they
Yeah.
need to be. You want to see, that curl being 16 inches. You want that. If he'd have been 16, it'd have probably been close to 80.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, another 4 inches, it would have been. He'd have been an 80-inch goat.
Well,
So
congratulations, man. That's awesome.
yeah, it was.
I've only killed one. I don't know what I don't think it was that big, but it was a good goat. I mean, you were there. I
Yeah,
don't think it
I
was
don't remember
it
what I
wasn't a
told you guys.
doinker.
I think you would have broke that 70-inch mark on those ones. But they were similar in length. They would have been around that 13 and a half, if I remember right. I think I measured one of your guys's. But
Yeah.
it was funny, is you really find that an area only has so much to offer most of the time. Not to say that you can't find a giant, but like when you guys came out, those goats were mature. They had the ivory tips, which this one, he's the ivory tip is broke off on this side. He's got a little bit of the ivory tip here. That's usually mature age. They're not going to get that until they're probably around the 4 mark. Um, but they're interesting because they look so similar. They're hard to judge. I do it all the time
Mm-hmm.
as I look and look. Like Zach was notorious for killing like a 74, 75-inch goat because he would always hunt first. And he's like, I'll shoot that one. And I'd be like, I ain't gonna shoot that. And then he'd kill a goat bigger than what I killed, at the end of the year, basically, because I was trying to be picky and never find something I want. But they're foolers. The last 2 or 3 I shot have been way bigger than I thought they were. The one thing I didn't have that I need is I needed a spotter, man. This area, it was very hard to tell the size of the goat. And the only reason I was able to tell it all is just because I have a lot of experience with glassing them. You can
We need
tell
to get
just by,
the band back together, man. That was a fun hunt. I think what's that bits? I bet I have 5 points now. We could probably draw a pretty good area.
yeah, I need some shooters to come out and show me how to do it because I was embarrassed. I really
I
was. But I think
I'm
my
doing it with
gun,
bow this time. I'm going bow. I'm
yeah.
not doing
Well,
rifle.
do
I'm gonna be
not
half and half.
I will not be putting in for this area that I hunted again, and I would not recommend it unless you want to shoot a half mile. Like it's there's no hardly any stockable country in this area. And I drove all over this area is huge. And I drove all over it. And I mean what I ended up killing, one of the biggest goats I saw in this area. I think that one that I missed free handed at close range, that was a horrible miss. I think he might have been 15 plus inches tall, but he didn't have this mass in his cutters.
Hmm.
So it sucked to not get it on video, but that with my job being off, you know, 12 to 13 days at a time, I'm off during the week. I don't have anybody to go with me. So that's the one thing that kind of sucks is I do a ton of hunting. I mean, I always did, but it's even more hunting by myself because I usually go on during the week now, which gets me away from people a lot of times. It didn't help on this one.
Well, I don't know. If you ever move closer to me, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
Or
I
maybe I'll move out there. I don't know. I don't know if I could stand the winters though. I mean, people say they
yeah.
like winter, but I mean, the way you describe it, man, that wind chill and
You'd
gosh, I
you'd
don't
have
think
to
I would.
be into snowmobiling and stuff. If you're into that, I think, but I never got into that. I mean, I spend so much money on hunting that I can't
Yeah,
afford another hobby. So besides fishing.
yeah, you got to really hone in. You got to hone in, man, when you look at the financial.
Yeah, have you seen that meme going around where it's like the average person spends $250 on their hobby a year?
Yeah, I saw that went around like last year. I'm like, geez, well, man, that's like sometimes
There's no way that's true.
that's like a week sometimes if we catch the
A
right
week,
spurt.
that's a piece of clothing. That ain't even a pair of boots.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I went through a boot phase, and yeah, the stuff's it's not cheap, man. But well, thanks for telling the story, man. It's always good. You got your antelope, so I know we're getting up on an hour here. What's the next step? Is it so you're gonna whitetail hunt North Dakota and then head to Illinois?
Yeah, I don't have any more tags here. I'm going to help Jordan. Hopefully we need to get his tag filled. That way we can do a little pheasant hunting here. So that I'm gonna try to get him done this. And he's not trying to hold it. He hasn't shot a deer in years. I mean, it's been
Mm-hmm.
a very long time. So he just first buck comes by, he's probably gonna shoot it. So
Okay.
I think we should be able to do that here in a couple sets probably. It should be a good time of year. Michael Obendorf's going to be chasing them in Illinois until I get there, but that's my next personal hunt. Is I'll be in the deer stand on the 13th, which is quite a bit later for me, but we see some big bucks in North Dakota later in the mid-November.
Yeah, I'm starting to like mid more. I don't know why, but okay. Well, exciting times. I'll be hunting Indiana and Illinois within the next couple weeks, so we should have some stuff. Maybe try to do some rut reports. Try to get some buddies on here, see what they're seeing across different states, and like always, guys, check us out on the website, madcorehunter.com. If you want to kind of support the channel, buy a hat, DM me or Danny if you have anything you want us to cover on these podcasts. Going to try to get some guests on here. It was really nice having Cameron on. I think you guys are going to enjoy the next podcast. It's a big deer. So appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.
Good
Danny,
luck.
thanks.